Hello, my name is Desiree Santella, and this is my academic capstone presentation. My topic/driving question is, how do I, as co-president of People for Paws, help an organization in need to bring awareness about wild horses in my community? Well, a little bit about my personal interests and a little bit of background is my freshman year of high school with along with Sydney Coots, I started this club called People for Paws. And basically I started this club because I wanted to fundraise and volunteer at different animal shelters. And I've been able to do this all 4 years of high school, a little bit less this year because of COVID. But we've been able to fundraise at the farmers market. We've been able to volunteer at so many different organizations and so many animal shelters. And it has just been truly such a great club. So many members have been a part of it. And I just love this club because it has truly given me the opportunity to pursue my passion of helping animals, but also help others pursue their passions. And that's kind of all what New Tech is about, helping us pursue our passions. And so starting this club, it has truly done that. Problem. So there's an organization called the Horse Lives Matter Equine Sanctuary, and they're basically an organization that protects wild horses, but they also help horse owners keep their horses during difficult times. So during COVID-19, it has kind of made it impossible for them to run this organization. And when I found this, I really, really wanted to find a horse organization that was going through a problem or a crisis and needed help. And this was the organization that I was able to find. So the solution idea that I got was, first, I wanted to create a volunteering opportunity for not only people in People for Paws, but also people in my community. And second, create a fundraiser that I could help this organization financially. So I researched about three different things. The first one being the deadly threat on our wild horses. And I didn't really know much about the threat that they had until I kind of did my research and looked at my sources. And I was able to find that the BLM has urged the agency to destroy over 45,000 federally protected wild Mustangs. And they're just doing this by just killing them or selling them indiscriminately. So there's obviously a big issue. The second thing that I researched was, how can I have a successful fundraiser? I've already planned fundraisers in the past, but I don't think that I've ever really researched and found the step-by-steps on how to correctly do it. And the 5 steps that I kind of learned and determined were good steps to follow in the future were, first, determining what kind of virtual fundraiser I want to have, or just in general, what type of fundraiser I want to have. Secondly, setting a fundraising goal. Third, creating my event framework. Fourth, publicizing my event. And then lastly, final testing and just kind of running through it. And then the third thing that I researched was, how can I have a successful volunteering event? And the big 2 points that I want to hit on that I kind of just got through my research and just through my volunteering in the past was, first, making sure I have a vision and goals set beforehand. And second, be clear on the why you're volunteering and making sure that the other people that are volunteering with you also understand that why. Well, let's go over my sources through these things that I researched. And so the first thing that I kind of want to hit on was my fundraising sources. And the things that I kind of learned through these sources were, first, how I can promote. They talked about creating hashtags and making social media accounts. Then people could follow through and see what I'm doing exactly, the entire process. Then I learned about these 6 steps on how I could have a successful fundraiser. And they talked about setting goals and choosing the right type of event, and also getting sponsors, making sure I have people interested, promoting, and assessing my results in the end of it. So they also talked about many different ways that I could raise money. And they talked about holding a bake sale, offering to clean tack, writing grants, and even having a table at a local business. Then I kind of needed to figure out ways that I could market my fundraiser. And so for free. So then I learned about the Google AdWords, social media, email marketing, media partners, press relief, local events, clubs, and word of mouth. All of those ways that I could market my fundraiser, but without paying any money for it. And then another source that I kind of researched about and did and kind of learned was that there are many different equine fundraiser ideas that you could do. And some of them that I kind of got were, first, I could host an open horse show, I could have an event calendar, host a clinic, or even have a concession at a horse show. And so, those were kind of the things that I learned through these sources for my fundraiser. Then for my volunteering event, I learned many different things. And those were just, I needed to identify and address what my nonprofit needed, and making sure that the people volunteering also understand why we're volunteering for this organization. And to have a successful organization, I need to reach out to people who are already involved or people who want to get involved. And also just making sure that I emphasize the impact the volunteers will have. I also needed to create some sort of volunteering program. And by this, I needed to create a mission statement. I needed to set goals. I needed to formulate a volunteering program strategic plan, and also develop and manage my relationships, not only with the organization, but also with the people that are volunteering. And so the four big things that I learned through my sources and through my research were, first, I need to be clear on the why. I need to create or choose a date and time that's going to be most helpful to maximize the attendance. Third, make volunteering events easy to attend, so make them be close to my community. And then fourth, promote my volunteering activity. And that's kind of what I learned through my fundraiser with like AdWords and text message and marketing through email, all of those different things. But then lastly, obviously, I needed to research about wild horses and truly understand why there's such a big need to help them. And so through my sources, I was able to learn that as long as horse slaughtering remains a legal option for our horse equines, no horse or wild domestic is safe. And so it also talked about how the BLM is placing tens of thousands of horses in long-term holding facilities while doing nothing to manage the population or even having any water resources. So the need for horse rescues in the US are really, really, really needed, because thousands of horses aren't getting the treatment they deserve. They're being underfed, undermedicated, left alone for long periods of time in poor conditions, and sometimes even being abused by their owners. And so that's why it's so important that we help these organizations that, like this horse equine sanctuary, because there really isn't that many. And so if we can continue to help them, then more horses can come and be protected. That's why I'm so passionate about this topic, because through these sources, through this research, I've been able to learn so much about the need that there is for helping these wild horses. So what would the implementation of my solution look like? Well, first, I would have done my volunteering opportunity, and this would have been at the organization, and I would have just had people from People for Paws or in my community volunteer. And obviously I had to change to an academic capstone because I faced an obstacle where basically for a couple of weeks they closed down the organization because of COVID. And so that's kind of why I had to cancel my volunteering event. And then secondly, my fundraiser would have been at the farmers market, and I would have sold dog treats, and I would have sold some t-shirts, People for Paws t-shirts, and I would also gave away a gift basket. So how does this help solve the problem addressed earlier? Well, first, it would have brought awareness to people in my community and People for Paws. It would have brought awareness about the deadly threat on our horses, because they would have been able to go to the organization and see for themselves, why we're helping these horses and the need that this organization has. And then how does it help my target audience? My target audience is the organization, the Horse Lives Equine Sanctuary. And through my fundraiser, I would have been able to help them financially, which was something in my problem statement that I really, really wanted to do. Measuring success. So for my fundraiser, I would have measured success by looking at the goal, so the amount that I wanted to fundraise. I would have secondly advertised through social media and everything. And so seeing how many people went to my fundraiser would have been another thing that I would have, measured with. And then lastly, the engagement that people had on my social media posts, if there was likes, if there was shares. And then for my volunteering, I would have measured success by seeing how many people went and also making sure there was an impact left on the organization, but also on the people who volunteered. The reflection, how did my source aid me in the success of my solution, is helping me know how to correctly hold a fundraiser and a volunteering event, and also just figuring out the steps that I need to do for the future if I ever want to hold these fundraisers or these volunteering events. The impact that this would have had on my community is bringing awareness to people about the deadly threat on our wild horses, and also on the organization as well, because of the fundraiser that I was going to hold. And for me, it honestly just gave me the skills for my future career that I want to pursue in the future. And that was business. I want to pursue a career in business. And, this opportunity of being able to research about fundraisers and volunteering events taught me just all about marketing and all of those things that I'm going to have to potentially do in my future career. I'm going to be going to UNT. And also for people for pause, I want to make sure that this organization, this club, continues at New Tech. And also, if I could potentially start a club at my university, all of these sources and all of these skills are going to truly aid me in having those successful volunteering events and those fundraisers. And then lastly, I obviously want to continue to pursue my passion of helping animals. And so through these sources, it's going to help me if I do want to pursue creating a volunteering or a fundraiser for any organization, I have those skills to do so. So thank you so much for listening to my capstone presentation. And I am so excited to see what the future has for me.